Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's your man, damednydc, host of the Two Mics Up podcast. And we here once again, another blessed Monday, brand new episode. And, you know, over the last week or so, the team and I were sitting around really brainstorming new ideas and different topics of conversation. And, just one of those things where, we got into a business conversation and start talking about, how do you grow your business and, you know, taking your business maybe to the next level, and how does that look and how do we get to that point? And I thought it was pertinent that we brought it up because, again, Two Mics Up, fairly new business. We've been fortunate to have growth in spurts, but sometimes you, even in that growth and spurt, sometimes you hit a wall, you hit a dead spot, and you really kind of run out of ideas or places to turn. And it just made us kind of say, well, what do you do? Like, where do you go? Today's guest, I think today's guest is going to really be able to help us out in that aspect of helping to grow your biz. And that's what a lot of us really want to do now with the pandemic. Some of us have, maybe left jobs, started side hustles. Like I said, myself here, you're climbing and you're growing and boom, hit a wall. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in today's guest, you know, our brother, my man, Mr. Mike Williams. He is the owner, president, of the growth coach of Northern VA. And this man is going to go ahead and spend some time with us today. And really, hopefully, we can all walk away with how we can improve and grow our business. But I'm going to stop talking. Mike, could you take a few minutes to kind of introduce yourself and share with our audience some of your background history?
Absolutely, Damon. Well, thanks for having me on the show. And you're absolutely right. A lot of the folks that I work with, um, they have started their business. They may have been in business 5 years, 10 years, and they hit a plateau or they hit a rough spot and they're thinking, okay, I know I need to get to a certain place, but I'm not sure how to get there. And that's where I come in. I'm Mike Williams. I own the Growth Coach of Northern Virginia. And just a little bit about me. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I am a third generation military guy. My grandfather was a cook in the Army, and my father was a tech sergeant in the Air Force. And I did 6 years as an Army officer, medical
Wow.
service officer. Went to Morgan State University, just not far from here,
Hmm.
and came out, went right into the military. So I learned a lot about leadership and those kinds of things, training, development of yourself, mental and physical. I also worked for Exxon Mobil.
Wow.
Back then it was called Mobil Chemical Company.
Mm.
I worked for Mobil Chemical Company for 6 years. I started as a production supervisor, and then I became a plant training supervisor, and then I became a sales representative. And it was kind of nice that I was able to go from the factory floor making plastics packaging, hefty bags, stretch film,
Mm.
the plastic salad containers, to actually going out and selling those products to
Okay.
grocery store chains and um, grocery distributors. So I did that for 6 years. Then I got a call from a recruiter about the Coca-Cola company, interviewed for
Okay.
Coca-Cola, and started working as a sales rep for Coca-Cola, business development, working primarily in the food service industry, so working with a lot of restaurants and businesses like that. But I learned a lot in my 20 years at Coca-Cola.
Hmm.
Uh, I did internal sales, external sales. When you're running your area with Coca-Cola, you wear a lot of different hats. You're the
Mm.
one that collects the money if they're not paying. You make sure the trucks get there on time. You're helping with the marketing programs and bundling and making sure that as many cups of Coca-Cola can be sold
Hmm.
with the burgers or fries or chicken or any of those kinds of things. So I learned a lot about operations. I learned a lot about pricing, a lot about people and businesses. Um, and I really enjoyed my time with the Coca-Cola company. I grew up a lot there. Then I decided to jump out on my own and
Hmm.
start my own business, and I really felt like it was a natural progression, Damon, because you know I did a lot of training of sales reps internally within Coca-Cola.
Right.
But I also, when I left Coca-Cola, I was a distributor national sales executive. I worked with lots of sales reps that worked for food service companies like Cisco, US Foods, Performance Food Group.
Gotcha.
So I'm used to developing marketing programs and activities for distributors or big customers, but also building relationships, helping businesses grow. At that time with Coca-Cola.
Hmm.
But I've been now running my own business for about 6 years,
Awesome.
and really enjoy working with business owners and with business. And I feel like when I look back on my career, all the different things that I've done have brought me to this point. Sort of like what you and I were talking
Mm.
about before we came on. But you know, my leadership and training started in the military,
Yeah.
but then as a plant training supervisor and working as a production
Yes.
supervisor, continue to cultivate my leadership skills
Hmm.
and those kinds of things, and then going into sales and working with business operations, marketing, sales. All of those different things have put me where I'm at, and I really enjoy what I do.
Look, I I I got a whole spectrum of not you in a snapshot, but your career and how. Well, let's start even, and I tell some people, let's even go back because you really took your job, and even before I say it, first let me say thank you for your service. Most importantly,
My pleasure.
secondly, though, you took a job, you turned it into a career, and you turned that career into ownership. And I think if people are listening, that's what I want them to listen and understand, that this is a real not only possibility, but it can come to fruition.
Absolutely.
And you took your talents and your skills and you applied them in those areas to take each step. Now, what I have to ask too, though, Mike, and this is really important though, because I find it because a lot of people, and you and I may be in the same age group when it
Yep.
comes to kind of old school thinking. Like a lot of times, like, so I came from New York. So like a lot of people, you got a city job, man. Look, you held on to that city job. You wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
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 And you
Right.
get to a certain, but you left corporate America in a sense
Yep.
to enter into the arena of or the world of coaching. What made you leave and really transition? What was that thing, or was it more than one thing that made you want to leave the corporate arena to enter into the world of coaching?
Well, I always enjoyed business, and I
Okay.
always enjoyed, working with people.
Mhm.
And so I always, you know, when I left college
Mhm.
and I went into the military, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And when I joined the military, I never thought I would do 20 years like my father, who did 21 years.
Wow.
I wanted to figure out where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And, through the military, um, I decided to come out and work for ExxonMobil. But even then, I just thought, well, I'm going to learn and develop. I'll learn about business. But I always thought somewhere down the road I would probably want to start my own business.
Mhm.
I just never thought that I would do even 20 years at Coca-Cola. But what happened is I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I had some great friends, great team, and I really grew up within Coca-Cola. But, things change, and it was
Mhm.
time for me to move on and do something else. Now, what also kind of moved that along is that Coca-Cola started doing some downsizing,
Mm.
and I didn't lose my job, but I watched a lot of my good friends leave.
Yeah.
And when a company downsizes, the people that are still there have to do more with less.
Yeah. I
So,
know that.
your geography is going to expand, your portfolio is going to expand. But in my case, my budget didn't expand. And
Right.
so that made it a lot tougher to grow my clients the way I wanted to. And so I just started looking at maybe doing some other things that might be a little more fun, because it got to be a little difficult. But
Hmm.
but again, I loved my time at Coke. I had a great time there. I learned a lot. It's a pretty tight alumni group, and so
Hmm.
I still stay in contact with a lot of folks that used to work for Coca-Cola, and some folks that are still working there. And I'm still a shareholder, so I want them to keep
Yeah,
making
I
money.
know. I know that's right. Let's just go ahead and period on that one. Let's just
That's
make
right.
sure that keep that money coming in, Coke.
That's right. That's right.
So I love that. But I also want to ask too, because it really leads in, because all of your experience and all your knowledge and everything that you've attained and um, you know, been able to use. So let's say for someone who's listening,
Hmm.
who's a small business owner, let's say like myself, or a new startup, or like I said in the intro, someone who feels like they've hit a wall.
Yep.
Why should a small business owner use your services?
Well, I work with some small business owners, you know, solopreneurs, less than 10 employees, but I also work with larger businesses as well,
Mm-hmm.
150, employees.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some pretty good sized businesses, but usually it's a situation where somebody needs some help in some aspect of the business.
Mm-hmm.
You're a business owner, Damon. There's a lot of things to consider when you're running a business.
Mm-hmm.
There's sales, so you've
Mm-hmm.
got sales strategy, sales plan, selling process. So I
Mm-hmm.
might work with somebody in that aspect. There's marketing,
Mm-hmm.
marketing strategy, marketing plan, marketing budget.
Mm-hmm.
There's leadership. If you're going to have more than one employee, you got to be a good leader. People
Right.
management, and people
Mm-hmm.
management, not just from the standpoint of putting the right person in the right position, but are you taking care of your people? Are you developing them and helping them to continue to grow and be the best that they can be? There's operations, the
Mm-hmm.
operations plan and operations strategy as well, implementation. There's a lot of different
Different.
aspects of business. And, here's a news flash. Most of us are not good at all of
All
those things. And
amen to that.
so if you're smart enough to figure out that you need a little bit of help in sales or marketing, or,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, my business is growing by leaps and bounds, so I got to have an operations manual. I got to
Right.
build an operations plan.
Right.
That's where I come in.
Mm-hmm.
And I help business owners build that roadmap to success. It could be in sales, it could be in marketing, it could be in operations, or it could be in strategic planning and development,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be all of those different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can work with businesses. Somebody might say, hey, I do need help with marketing. So I'll work with them on a marketing strategy and plan. But it could be that I'm working with a business, like I've got a larger business where I'm working with the CEO one-on-one on his strategic plan, business development, time management, all those
Mm-hmm.
different things.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also working with his leadership team, his department managers on, operations, working on people management,
Mm-hmm.
all of those kinds of things. And I'm working with the sales team to help the sales team grow. So
Mm-hmm.
we're doing whiteboards, and we're building specific plans for each of the sales reps, making sure that whether you've got less than 1 year of sales or whether you've got 15 years of selling, that we're focused on building
Oh,
key
yeah.
targets, having a selling process, having a strategy that's going to grow the business. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I try to do. And I always start with the question of, what's the vision for the business? Where do you want to go with the business?
And,
Okay.
yep.
What's your mission?
And
What are your goals? And if you say, hey, I don't know what those are, that's okay, because I'll help you build that. I'll help you work through that.
mm-hmm.
But what's the purpose of your business? What's the mission, which is going to
Right.
be how you're going to bring that vision to life, and then what are going to be the short-term and long-term goals and objectives of the business.
And I think, and we kind of briefly talked about that before we got on there, like really trying to identify. And I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, whether it's big, large or small, I think a lot of times that's really one of the hardest things to do is really identify your service. And then for me, I know that sometimes even being able to adjust on the fly, because
Right.
sometimes you may have to pivot
Yep.
because you know what, okay, well, this is what I thought I was going to do, or this is what I thought our mission was going to be, but you kind of get blindsided by things that you don't see or in the process. And sometimes it's challenging. And tell me if I'm wrong, because I've met people that I've heard and tried to talk to. Sometimes we get in our own way.
That's
We're
right.
not flexible enough.
Yep.
So, like, how do you or how have you been able to maybe lead, let's say, a potential client into kind of saying, hey, you might be better off over here.
Well, I'll walk them through that by asking them key questions about what's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I'll have clients or potential clients that'll say, "Hey, Mike, I need your help," and they might say, "I need some help with the sales side of the business."
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll have business owners that say, "I've been in this business a long time. I know what I'm doing, but now I have employees, and I need
Mm.
your help with them."
Right,
Right.
right.
And a lot of times when I talk with the owner, they're not really articulating what they want from their team,
Yeah.
because if they don't know what the vision and the mission is themselves, how are you
Got
going
it.
to roll that out to the rest of the team?
Yeah.
So I'll take a step back and say, okay, wait a second, what is your business strategy and plan? And if they have it, then I'll say that's fantastic. I'll walk through it with them, but then I'll ask them, well, what kind of conversations are you having with your team? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking for your team to help you get to a certain place,
Yeah.
they need to know what the plan is,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
need to know where they fit into it. And
Yeah.
so I talk a lot with business owners about, not just understanding your vision and mission, but being able to articulate it to your team. And what does it specifically mean to them? How do they
Mm-hmm.
fit into that?
Mm.
And so sometimes when a client will say, it's my employees, a lot of times it's them not getting out of their own way.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
I bring that because early on, we got this thing started. I had a very difficult time. So it's in my head, right?
Yeah.
And it's my vision and what I see.
Yeah.
But I'm not conveying it, to those, like I was blessed enough to have a team around me and built a team, but I wasn't conveying what was in my head to them clear enough so that they understood what I was trying to develop and grow.
Right.
And then it
Right.
became a thing. I don't want to say like a rebellion, but it was
Right.
almost like one day it was just like, everything. Here he goes again. We don't understand. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I bring that up and I laugh about it because I think a lot of us, it's hard to look in the mirror when it's you driving and it's all in your head and you're not doing a good job disseminating information because you're only as good as your team really
That's
at the
right.
end of the day.
That's right.
So thank you
That's
for
right.
sharing that and talking that through. But I also have to ask too then, Mike, uh what can a person, really gain from your service? Because now you've already, we're using your service,
Yeah.
but what is the end game, or what can they look to gain from your services?
Well, first off, I want to get them into good business habits
Hmm.
and making sure that they're being strategic in their business, taking some time out to work on the business versus working in the business. What I find a lot is, business owners get very busy doing the day to day and doing the
Mm,
technical stuff. And they're
yes.
good at the technical stuff, which is
Yeah.
why they got into business.
Yeah.
But as your business grows, you've got to take off some of those different hats, and you're going to have to hand those down to other folks,
Right.
and you've got to be more strategic in figuring out, down the road, one step, two steps, 2 years down
Hmm.
the road, where do I want to be, and how
Right.
do I prepare my team and my business to get there? And
Right.
so what I'll do is I help them build that roadmap for growth, but I also give them some clarity, some accountability, and also just get them in the business habits and really working through, um, you know, all the different aspects that I talked about when we look at, metrics. How are you measuring success within your business?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing a plan, an annual plan, and are you thinking about not just the mission for the next 12 months, but where are you going to be the next 3 to 5 years? So you've got to start thinking that way. And kind of going back to what you said initially, you may start a business where it's just you and 1 or 2 people, or it's just you.
Right.
Well, once you start growing the business and you end up with 10 or 15 employees, the scope of the business changes. And
Yep.
so the operations change, the marketing changes. You've got to be able to move forward with that. I work with all kinds of businesses, Damon, and I'll work with IT companies. I work with, certified public accountants, attorneys, and all kinds of folks. But I also work with services organizations. I had a gentleman that was a plumber, less than 6 people in his company, working out of his basement. And I said, when we first started talking, I usually ask a lot of questions, like I mentioned, talk about the vision and the mission. And I said, so, what is it you'd like to accomplish? Well, I would like to get out of my basement. I'd like to move into a brick and mortar established business. My wife is doing a lot helping me out, but we have a family. I'd like to get my wife out of the business. I said, okay. So we built out a plan. We built out a strategy. We built short-term, long-term goals. And, in less than a year, we got him out of the basement with all of those trucks in his neighborhood, all of the plumbing trucks. We got him out of the basement. We got him over to an office space. He went from the 10 employees to over 35 employees.
Wow.
And he had over 20 trucks.
Wow.
But when we think of those things, we say, oh, well, he's got cash flow now. He's got revenue. But you know what else he has? He has more people. So he's got more issues.
Yep.
And some of the things he was able to do operationally with 6 people, you can't do with 25 people or 35 people. And so you still need to get into the habit of looking ahead and being more of a strategic business owner and less of a technical in the business type of person. And a lot of times we like to do the in the business stuff because that's the roll up your sleeves. That's the business.
Yep.
But what about the building the relationships, going out and getting the larger accounts, building that marketing plan? That's what business owners have to do. And it's sometimes hard for them to make that shift. And it's hard for the clients too. Because if the clients are calling and they, I'm used to talking to Mike. Okay, well, Mike's the CEO. Mike's got 30 other very capable people. Yeah, but I've always talked to Mike.
Yep.
So it's a tough shift for a lot of people.
It really is. You talking true points and true facts right there. And I tell anybody, just take a minute and go ahead and just think, be smart, just like that right there. And he's telling truth because, again, and I share, like, even in our growth. So for the longest time early on, I tried to make it more about the show, not to say necessarily about me or, the featured co-hosts and things of that nature. But after a while, you can't really, not to say hi, but people want to see Damon. Like they want to talk to Damon. So in evolution, or through the evolution now, we do the content creation. And like you said, now I've been blessed over, the last season. We've got sponsors and things of that nature. But now it's become, well, how do I get to that next level? So now it's really more of, having to get out and having to be out and be in the presence of others to make that connection. So, Mike just dropped some gems for you, ladies and gentlemen, that are out here listening. With that being said, if you didn't catch the first part and you're just tuning in now, I suggest you go back to the beginning. You watch the first part, because right now we're going to go ahead and take a pause for the cause, and we're going to go ahead and thank our sponsors of Two Mics Up, and we'll be right back after the break. right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back out the break. Your man Dame DNYDC, two mics up. Tonight's amazing guest, uh, my brother Mike Williams. He's the owner, president, growth coach of Northern Virginia. Like I said, if you missing it, go back, rewind, start from the beginning. Whether you watching, you audio streaming, whatever platform you on, you missed out on a whole lot in the first half. So go ahead and go back so that you
Go
know how to
back.
go ahead. Yeah, right. Go back because
Go
we're
back.
talking about growing your business here. All right. So make sure you catch up on all of those gems and nuggets. So Mike, I have to ask, let's just say, can you give us an example of exactly what you do when you're working with a new client who signed up for your service? And when I say exactly, like, you know, I think some people really don't understand like the pitch, because sometimes, being on either end of the pitch and how you guide someone through is really important. And I think if you can kind of give us an example of your pitch and your walkthrough on a new client would really be great for those who are watching or listening to today's show.
Yeah. Usually for me, Damon, I'm always out building relationships. I'm always out networking groups. I work through a number of networking groups. I work through chambers of commerce. And a
Mm,
lot of times it's not so much of a pitch as much as a conversation.
mm, mhm,
And, I'm either asking some questions, or even if I'll have somebody come up to me and say, hey, I think I'm stuck. You know, I don't know if you can help me with my business, but
mhm,
maybe we can have a conversation. So I'll have a cup of coffee with them, and I'll talk with them about the business. But I also have a questionnaire,
mm,
and that questionnaire um, talks specifically around, vision, mission. What are you trying to accomplish in the next 2 to 3 years? What are you trying to accomplish in the next 5 years? Really looking to flush out, again, your purpose, why
mhm,
you've started that business or you're in that organization, and what is it specifically that you're looking to accomplish. And
mhm,
so from that, a lot of times, like I talked with an owner of an IT company, and we met at the Chamber of Commerce at one of the networking events, and he said, hey, um, I started my business a few years back. I have an IT company. I think you might be able to help my salespeople, right? And he said, well, we'll start with me, because I'm the CEO. I feel like I should be able to sell a little bit better.
mhm,
So, we built out a 6-month program. I've got this sales liftoff program. So I told him about the liftoff program. I gave him the program outline, what we're going to do each month, and really just talked about identifying the selling strategy for his business.
mm,
I have a read 4-step sales process.
mm,
And, any sales process should start with building relationships. It should end with closing the business, but there are a lot of great questions in between,
mhm.
really wanting to understand needs and wants,
Okay.
and then providing those needs, as opposed to just trying to throw everything that you have, all of your products and services, at somebody. Really trying to build a program specifically for your client,
Mm,
which is what I do. And so, going through the selling strategy, building the 4-step read sales process, and then there's there's a there's a behavioral process called DISC. I'll take them through DISC so that they can understand the different types of behaviors that people have,
okay.
so that they can learn to understand what they're hearing from people. And if people
Mm,
are more dominant, or if they're more influential, or if they're more conscientious, you don't change the way you present to people. You present things in a different way.
way.
So
Yeah.
it's not like the specific material changes, but the way you communicate it and
Mhm,
deliver it
mhm.
is going to be a little different.
Yeah.
And so I work with him on the sales process. I work with him on asking better questions to better understand clients. You've probably talked to a salesperson where they're fast talking, they're moving you through the process, they want to hurry up and get you to buy.
Yep.
When really good salespeople are problem solvers.
Yeah.
And they're a lot like detectives. They want to figure out, okay, what's your main problem?
Right.
Um, what do I have that I can
That they
help you
help you
with?
with. Hmm.
And then when you solve that problem or you have a solution for that problem, then that person says, hey, hello, I'm ready to hire you, you
Yep.
know? And so instead of trying to be more of an influencer and convince people to buy things from you, you know, ask better questions, learn about them, and be a problem solver.
Hmm.
You'll build better relationships. You'll sell more, but you'll have happier clients that will share their experiences with other people. So I went through this sales liftoff program with the business owner. We went through it for 6 months. His sales increased 20%,
Wow.
and he was so happy that he asked me to work with two other salespeople in his company.
Okay.
And along with that, I now meet with him monthly just to work on his business. He said, Mike,
Awesome.
I want to talk
That's
with you on
awesome.
a monthly business basis around my business, what I've done the last 30 days. I want you to help me outline what I should be doing the next 30 days and really help me with my time management, help me with my business strategy. As I'm growing the business, I want to work with you through this. So I've been
That's
working with him
awesome.
now for over a year. And
Wow.
like I said, I started with the sales training, but then it became, hey, help me with my business in general. As I look at my marketing and sales and operations and all of those different things, I want to work with you on outlining a path to success. So
Man,
that's kind of how it could work.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it because it's like you said, understanding people. And like I said, a couple of things that you said here that I think a lot of us need to pay attention to. You can't talk to everyone the same. We can't communicate to
No,
everyone the same.
no.
Everyone's interpretation, body language, hand, whatever it may be, everybody interprets and they regurgitate things differently. So
Yeah,
it's understanding how to talk to people on different levels and in different manners. Another
absolutely.
thing that you mentioned that I found is very important, and it's really hard today because you said, um, I'm trying to paraphrase here, but not to be an influencer. And everything today is like the opposite. Like
Yeah,
everybody wants a like and everybody wants to
yes,
influence. So
yeah,
that's got to be a huge challenge, though. But I like that because it really makes you have to step back, and really be an agent of the person that you're talking to.
that's right.
You know
That's
what?
right.
And I
That's right.
really love that because I'm like, man, if you just say that to like somebody, like they're probably like, no, dude, what are you talking about? I want to be out here influence. I want, this is how people see that, I'm making my money and they get on board. But no, you're right. You want
And
to
you're
be,
exactly right, Damon. You know, I had a client and she said, I really want to get better at sales. And there's this guy in my company, and he can convince anybody to do anything. He convinces the CEO to do his projects and programs. And I said, but see, that's not what I want for you. I don't
mm-hmm.
want you to convince people. I want you to build better
Yeah,
relationships.
yeah,
I want you to ask better questions, and
mm-hmm.
I want you to solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can do those things, you're going to have people that want to work with you. They're going to want to figure out ways to work with you. And if you're providing solutions in the way of your products and services, then I don't how can they say no? How
Yeah,
can they say no?
yeah,
If they're telling you they need something and you say, "Hey, I've got just what you need right here," and you said you had a problem with certain things, I can solve those problems. Here it is.
yep.
What do we need to do next?
Yep. Man, look, all I'm gonna do is look. I just gotta drop this one here. This ain't nothing but sensational, and that's all. Y'all don't even know because y'all got so much in that 3-5 minute span. You have no idea. Go back and listen to it because my ears were on fire when I heard that whole influence. Man, that was great, Mike. I really appreciate you dropping that gem, and that really leads into because there was another portion that you talked into, um, about helping people with their brand and their product that they're trying to sell.
Mhm.
What is maybe one tip that you could give someone who really is finding it difficult to sell their brand or their product or their service to others?
I would go with like you said, I'm old school, so I would go with Stephen Covey.
Mm,
Start with the end in mind.
yeah.
What is it that you want to accomplish? What's the best possible outcome with
Mm,
respect to whether it's sales or marketing or different things? And if you can identify that, then we can outline the key steps to help make it happen for you.
mm-hmm,
So it
mm,
really is, if you can visualize or define where you want to be, then we can backwards plan and we can make it happen.
mm. Man, that right there that's a very powerful statement too within itself, and it's very true. Sometimes simple. What was the phrase coming up? Keep it simple,
Keep it
stupid.
simple. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean that really is it in a nutshell. Um, and that I want to transition then for everything that we've talked about. Your early career, your transition into becoming a coach, and helping people build their businesses and their products and their services. I have to ask then, really, because I sometimes say this for myself, or really look back because it's been asked to me before.
Yeah.
What would you say has been your greatest enjoyment then, as a growth coach so far?
My greatest enjoyment, boy, that's a good question. That's a loaded question, but I really enjoy watching these businesses go from the basement
Mm,
to a storefront. I enjoy watching, somebody with less than 10 employees grow their business to where they want it to be.
mm-hmm.
That gives me a great feeling. Um, I honestly hope, in terms of great joy, that there's still more out there for me to do.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I really want to help people become better communicators.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help people to have a better focus on their business
Mm-hmm.
and really think through what they want out of life. You know, a lot of people think they want a lot of money, but once you start peeling the onion, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it's, hey, I just want more time to be able to do whatever it is I want to do, or I want
That's
the
the truth.
flexibility to not have to do the things I don't want to do.
That's
Right.
the
So
truth
when we
right there.
talk about those things, those different balls within the business, hopefully you get to a point where you say, well, if I don't want to do some of these things, I'll just have somebody else do
Right.
it. you
Yep.
know so having those freedoms and allowing people to be able to do what they want to do, brings me a lot of joy, helping people do that. And even for myself, I just want to make sure that, when I work with businesses, I'm connecting people.
Mm-hmm.
I work with a lot of really good businesses. And so if I can connect other businesses to one another to help each other,
Yep.
I enjoy doing that as well.
Yeah. This is why I'm so glad to have the honor and the privilege of having you on the show, because that's what we're about here. We like to connect the dots. We like to make sure that we're doing things that, people can walk away feeling some type of education, like we talked about, and
Yep.
you can take that education that'll empower you to do something positively to impact our community. And that's why I'm so thankful that, you took time out tonight, or today, I'm sorry, to go ahead and sit with us. But I have to ask, as we're closing out this amazing episode, Mike,
Yep.
what is next for Mike Williams, the growth coach? Like you said, you don't want this to hopefully be it. Hopefully, there's more enjoyable moments. There's more great moments
Absolutely.
ahead. So,
Absolutely.
what's next for Mike Williams?
Definitely want to continue building even more relationships, continue to work with businesses of all sizes, and help them get to where they want to be, help them get to the next level. But you mentioned COVID and the different changes within COVID. And I've done a lot of business with people really across the country via Zoom and other media means, to help businesses.
Hmm.
And I'd like to get back to doing more face to face and working with some clients face to face. So I think for me, when I look at 2022, I think there's going to be more face-to-face workshops. There's going to be me working with businesses at different levels within the business, whether it's with the management team or whether it's with the CEO or the sales team, other people. I just see myself doing more of that. So
Mhm.
continue to develop my business and grow and
Mhm.
work on my operations, but also, you know, pivoting a little bit from COVID and doing more face to face. I'll still do Zoom with clients that want to do that. I always want to meet my clients' needs and meet them where they are.
Mhm.
But that's what I see for me, and I'm really excited. Business has been great because of what you said. A lot of people have kind of stopped and said, okay, I'm either going to add a revenue stream to my business,
Yep.
or I'm going to do something else in my business. And so I may need some help jump starting that, or I may need some help just building out the plan.
Mhm.
And in some aspects, sometimes I'm just helping a client build their annual plan or their strategy, and that's it. And then I'll
Mm.
have other clients that build that strategy and plan, and then they say, okay, I'm looking at this. Now I need a little bit of help with the operations, or I need a little bit of help with the marketing or the sales. So
Right.
I just see myself doing a lot more stuff, and hopefully catching up with you and seeing how you're making
Hey,
out.
hey, man. Look, Mike. Thank you first of all, because you and I, we're in the neighborhood now that we know we're in the neighborhood together.
That's right. That's right.
Like you said, with COVID, hopefully, at some point, will things will continue to loosen up and hopefully get back to some form of normalcy.
Yep.
I look forward to meeting you in person, my brother. Uh,
Absolutely.
but ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what you doing or where you are. Like if you are starting a side business, bringing in added income or looking to, or you're confused, stuck on where you need to go or how you should proceed in building your brand and your business, today's episode. This man that you're looking at right here, Mike Williams, he's the growth coach of Northern Virginia. I suggest that you reach out to him and you try to get on this man's calendar, talk to him or whatever you do. And you're probably saying, well, Dame, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to tell you. Mike, take a few minutes. Go ahead and let those who are watching or on streaming or watching us today here on our YouTube channel, could you let them know how they can get in contact with you to try to conduct business and build their business future?
Absolutely, absolutely. My website is the growth coach of northernva.com. You can also hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm the growth coach of Nova, the growth coach of NOVA. And I also have a strategic business owner Facebook group where I do some videos. I provide some information to business owners. And, you know, the strategic business owner Facebook group is free. Having a conversation with me is free. You can set up some time, either go on my website and shoot me a message, or you can go out to LinkedIn and message me, or reach out on my website and let me know. I'm more than happy to talk with you about your business and see if I can help you out.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here, and I want to make sure I got this right. It's the growth coach of
.com.
northernva.com.
Yep,
So I'm gonna let that sit there for a minute. Grab a pen, take a screenshot, do whatever you have to do. And again, I tell people that listening is a great thing. It's the reason why you got two ears and one mouth.
that's
You
right.
know, it's twice as hard to listen, but it's also free. And a lot of times people don't get free. And Mike just told you, you can schedule a call, consultate. It's no charge.
No charge.
Free people. So write it down. If you're hesitant, you're not sure, it costs you nothing to call to inquire. And
That's
I'm
right.
pretty sure this man has, if he can't himself, I'm pretty sure he may be able to go ahead and point
I
you in.
I I definitely will know somebody that can help you out.
This is what we do.
Absolutely.
You hear it here, people. This is what we do here on Two Mics Up. Mike, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down with me, chop it up on Two Mics Up, man. Continue success. You are now a part of the Two Mics Up family. We will go ahead and find out more about Mike as things continue.
Absolutely.
We'll be here to support and help him on his journey. And like we always do at this time, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow Two Mics Up online at www.twomicsup.com. You can follow us across our social media, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Two Mics Up. If you're watching today's show, and make sure you go ahead, go down there, subscribe, tell a friend,
That's right.
leave us a comment. Don't be afraid. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm okay. Let me know how you feel about the episode, the show, whatever it is. I like to hear back from you. I'm always pretty good about replying. And also make sure you hit that little bell up there in the corner so that you too can be notified about all the new content coming to you from Two Mics Up. And just to share with you, we are going to be going ahead and working on poets and vibes. So if any poets out here that can spit any lines, you want to go ahead and compete for an online prize, hit us up, www.2micsup.com
I want
forward
to see
slash
that.
contact. Yeah, hey, we working on it, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
want to see that.
So make sure you hit us up if you're interested and you want to register. Stay tuned for more information. And like we always do at this time, I'm going to ask you all to stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.